Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you all can hear me. Apologies for the late start. We just won one day at the Capitol. Thank you all for coming. So next slide. So I'm sure many of you all have previously attended MDAC, and for those of you that are new to Muslim Day at the Capitol, really the purpose of MDAC is to engage with your lawmakers on various civil rights issues that impact not only the Muslim community, but the Californian community, and also provide folks with a valuable opportunity to gain advocacy skills, but also meet with your state lawmakers and develop and build those relationships. And this year, we're actually going to have Muslim Day at the Capitol at the state capitol out on the lawn. We've done it a few times before in the year, and this year we were lucky enough to be able to once again have it outdoors. We are actually going to be located at the west steps or the west lawn. We'll have a big tent. We are expecting approximately 800 community members to attend. Really excited. Hopefully this will be the biggest Muslim Day at the Capitol that we've had. And thankfully, because our venue is right on the lawn, it'll give you easy access to be able to go in and out of the Capitol. So to give a brief overview of the program schedule, we're going to have our check-in at 8:30 in the morning to 9:45. This is just an opportunity for folks to quickly check in, but also have an opportunity to sit down and get breakfast. This year is a little different. We're actually having folks from San Diego and Los Angeles actually fly in, and folks are actually individually also taking buses up. So we've left a lot of room for folks to be able to shuttle in. And San Francisco Bay Area is busing people over. So this folks will be arriving at different times, but this will also be some nice downtime, especially for Sacramento local folks, to get to meet your neighbors and kind of, you know, eat breakfast together, learn more. And then from 9:45 to 10 a.m., we're going to have our program welcome and group introductions. And then from 10 a.m. to 4:15, we're going to have our legislative meetings and workshops. We're also planning to have another news conference, and we're going to have Capitol tours throughout the day. You have to sign up ahead of time. And then we're going to have lunch from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And then from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., we're going to have the hood prayer, guest speakers, and closing, an opportunity for folks to have take a group photo with each delegation from each local CAIR office. So before we move on really quickly, actually we can move on because this is going to address the point that I wanted to talk about with guidebook. So this year, many of you had the opportunity last year to download it, but we're having a phone app again for Muslim Day at the Capitol. So this is a great, especially for those who want to be more green, but also like to have everything on your phone and don't want to carry anything. Guidebook app will actually give you an opportunity to download your own personal schedule, receive real-time updates, access all the resources that we are going to provide you, such as fact sheets, scripts, speaker bios, maps, other resources for social media. There's just a good opportunity for you to kind of customize your schedule, but also it has an option for you to be able to speak to your group mates. You can create little chats, and if we need to send you a last minute update or if a meeting's changed, we can quickly send everyone an update. And for those of you that actually prefer to have hard copies of everything, we're still going to provide those resources, but we're definitely moving towards more of the guidebook just to make it easier on you to have everything on one page. But we will have the other resources available if you would like to have a hard copy as well. And in regards to our materials for Muslim Day at the Capitol, so this is the folder that we're going to have for our legislative meetings. And in those folders that we're going to give not only to the elected officials and the staffs to leave behind, but all this materials will also be in your guidebook app. We're going to have an agenda of the program. We're going to have legislative fact sheets. We're going to have a meeting script, a meeting report, and an event survey. I should clarify that most of these things are for you personally. We are going to be making individual legislative folders for your elected officials that just contain the important information that they need, such as the legislative fact sheets and some information about CAIR and the work that we do. So we'll definitely get those prepared for you ahead of time so that when you have groups, it'll your team captain will be in charge of actually leaving those behind. So now let's get to the main event. So the main focus of Muslim Day at the Capitol is our advocacy, and that's the legislative meetings. So let's just go through a quick breakdown of the basics. So some basic meeting etiquette that we recommend folks is to dress neatly and professionally, to make sure you're be on time, to speak concisely and stay on topic. And by that, we really mean that you only have 15 minutes to meet with your elected official, and you have to go, and we have 3 bills that we will go over in a little bit, but it's really important to stay on topic and focus on the issues impacting community. You're more than welcome to share your stories and kind of your personal experiences, but just make sure that it's on topic with the issues that you're talking about, and then be polite and respectful. And also, for those of you who really like talking and interacting with leaders or just community members, like make sure you give every person an opportunity to speak and participate, especially those who may not have as much experience. This is a good opportunity for us to lift each other up and make sure all our voices are heard. And also, when you're in these meetings, I know they're short, 15 minutes, but please allow the elected officials you meet or staff a chance to respond to your comments. They're really excited to get to know you, and they really want to ask questions and really get down to understand your perspective a little more. So give them an opportunity to really engage with you and have meaningful conversations. So one big recommendation that we have are some suggestions for what respectful language to use, and these terms are really based off of our experience in having meetings with fellow advocates, but also what is considered proper and respectful language at the Capitol and in these advocacy meetings. So we really recommend avoiding the use of these offensive words: felon, illegal alien, and crazy and insane or retarded. Alternative words, as you can see, are person with a criminal conviction, undocumented immigrant, mentally unstable, disabled, or impaired. We really strongly encourage that you follow these simple rules, and this will just help ensure that you get your message across, but also that you respect everyone's space and experiences. Next. So next we have a sample meeting script. So for those of you, even if you have had an opportunity to be in an advocacy meeting, sometimes it's a little difficult to really be succinct and really just make sure you stay on topic. So what we do and what we offer is a meeting script, and it also helps provide an opportunity to ensure that each community member. So as you can see that this is just a sample. It'll be this is a guideline. You don't have to stick to it strictly, but this will help make sure your meeting flows smoothly. So we recommend somebody do a brief intro, give a little bit of background to what MDAC is about and like why you're here, who you're representing, and then really another person to kind of go into the purpose of the visit and like what type of bills that you're addressing. So what's really great about this meeting script is, for example, some of us aren't experts in some of these bill areas, or we may suggestions on things that you can bring up and resources, and really there's no need why this issue is important to you. So those personal stories and the why you support the bill is really what members are going to take with them, especially as they hear the bills as they continue on in the process. So these are just sort of guidelines that please feel free to add your own personal experiences and your voice to it. And this is just an additional resource that we provide to you. So this year, CAIR California has 3 bills that we're advocating for MDAC. We are advocating for AB 931, which is by Assemblymember Weber and McCarty. It's a use of force bill regarding police officers. So essentially what this bill does is it ensures that in only necessary situations that police officers are allowed to use deadly force. So what the purpose of this bill really is to focus on de-escalation and assessment, and to ensure that when police officers engage with the community, that they use proper force based on the totality of circumstances and based on what is necessary. And a great thing about this law is that if it does become enacted, police departments can actually discipline or fire officers who use deadly force that is unnecessary, and they could actually be charged. This is actually good given a lot of the issues that have been coming out in regards to the treatment of Black and brown men and women when interacting with law enforcement. This is a very important bill, and that we're glad to be supporting on Muslim Day at the Capitol. Another important bill that we are advocating on is AB 2184 by Assemblymember David Chu from the Bay Area. This bill is business licenses for immigrants. So what this bill would do is it would allow immigrants and anyone regardless of immigration status to be able to apply for a local business license using only a California ID or a California driver's license or an individual taxpayer number. So this bill is actually really important because, as we've seen from the federal administration, what they've been doing is they've been rolling back and trying to take away rights of immigrants and targeting specific immigrant communities, such as those receiving DACA protections or DACA permits, and also those under temporary protected status, kind of taking away and rolling back the ability for folks to be able to sustain themselves and make a livelihood and provide income for their families. This bill is really California's solution of ensuring that no matter what, even if the federal government takes away your personal rights, that you will still be able to provide for your family in a way that, you know, is lawful, but also engage meaningfully in the economy. And our last bill is AB 2291, which is another bill by Assemblymember David Chu, which we are co-sponsoring this year, and it's another bullying bill. What this bill would really do is that it actually required the Department of Education to post online training modules specifically catered to bullying and make it available for teachers to address bullying and bullying prevention. This is really important because it has not been done yet, and it's one step forward to making sure that the resources are actually being provided to teachers and they actually have an opportunity to learn and be provided culturally competent training. This is a bill that's really important to us considering everything that's happening and how bullying is actually getting worse around the country and in California. Next slide. So the next slide is really just a sample of the legislative fact sheets. So we will be providing you all with these legislative fact sheets. As you can see, it provides brief background information about the bill. This is the school bullying bill. And you'll get the most up-to-date information because the bills are actually going through committee as we speak. So we'll make sure to provide you everything you need day of and that everything's up to date. But these fact sheets are great because it gives you a brief background of the issue. It also tells you exactly what the bill will do, and it gives you kind of an outline of what is being asked of California State Legislature members, and it provides resources on the bottom. So if you personally want to do a little bit more research, you can look up these links, but also it provides the elected officials and staffers that we leave the information behind an opportunity to kind of look at the resources we left. And what's great is we're actually uploading all these sheets and these resources right now, so you can actually start doing research early and kind of get to know a little bit more about the issue. And it leaves contact information as well with the legislative staff that's in charge of the bill. So if you are personally interested in continuing monitoring and following the bill, you can definitely ask the staffers about what's going on with the bill. You can keep following us on your local listservs, but also CAIR Facebook pages. Or you can also maybe get this information and make sure and follow up with your own elected officials to make sure that they're still paying attention to the bill. So the next slide is really just the end of the meeting procedure. So it's really simple how to end a meeting. So we recommend you say thank you to all those staff members that you met. Make sure to leave behind the folder with CAIR materials with the staff. And please make sure to take your elected officials' contact information and cards. They actually leave it at the front of their office in card holders. And you can actually ask specifically if you're interested, for example, in district staff, they can give you that contact information. And we really encourage you follow up with your staff members when you go back home to see if maybe you can continue building those relationships. And at the end, we please fill out the meeting reports. It's kind of just a brief recap of what the meeting was like, what they discussed, and this is a sample here of the meeting report. It's really simple. Just ask you. It can also be a guideline too, and for you all just to make sure that you're addressing all the points. But it's really simple and straightforward. You can check it based on your experience, but also if there is some concern about, for instance, how an elected official treated you during the meeting, please feel free to write this down. And I believe we're also offering this meeting report through guidebooks, so you can actually fill it out through your phone. And then finally, how to join MDAC. We have limited spots left, but please, especially if you have not actually registered yet, please go to CAIR-CA and register. Also contact your local CAIR offices for questions about transportation and lodging. We'll do our best to answer them today, but if you have more questions as it comes along, please call your local CAIR office and we'll make sure to take care of you. And next, so before we really get down to the question and answer part, these are some frequently asked questions. One, how do I register for MDAC? Just again, go to CAIR-CA. The next is, how do I prepare for the meeting? So please study your legislative fact sheets and learn the script as your guideline. So as I've said before, we'll provide all these resources discussed here and more research links up on our CAIR-CA website. So please feel free to look up those, do some research. And if you have any more follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to the local staff and kind of get more detailed information. And then the other one is, what do I talk about during the meetings? So we really recommend using the talking points from the script. It kind of just helps guide the conversation, but also organically, you'll start seeing the flow, and it'll be really easy to start sharing, those personal stories about how the bill impacts you. And we really, really recommend you focusing on why this bill is important and how it impacts you, but in general, how it impacts the California community. And another question we get very often is it okay to take photos and pictures during the meeting? Absolutely. However, we recommend that you ask the elected official on staff for permission before taking photos, because this is a workplace, and sometimes folks have their kids around, or maybe they'll have some sensitive information. So if you just ask them really briefly if you can take a photo, they'll make sure to guide you to maybe the right place in the office, and you all can take a selfie or a nice photo together. But just recommend asking for permission just in case there's somebody in the office maybe, or they want to make sure you take a photo in the right location. And then the last question we have is, how do I follow up with my elected official once we're home? So what we recommend is sending a thank you email, or maybe a card if you want to mail it into your local office, or you can just call their office and really thank them. Elected officials really love hearing from their constituents and their community members that live in their district. So if you leave them a message, it'll really help make their day, and also it lets them know, that you are paying attention, and that you really want to develop those relationships. So we can start moving to questions. So I'm pulling up all the questions. So Okay. First question. Can we sign up for tours ahead of time during the check-in? So yeah. So the tours, everything will be available day of. So what we're doing now is Guidebook actually is live, and we'll be sending out the information later this week for folks to start downloading, like, you know, having it on their phone to kind of make sure it works well. So you will be able to check in if So another question we got was, is it okay to mention, hold on. Is it okay to briefly mention other issues as well that you're supporting? Yes, it is perfectly fine. However, we recommend that you ensure that these bills get pushed through. I'm sorry, these issues, that the top 3 bills that we have for MDAC, making sure that those issues get addressed, but also feel free, because, you know, these are your elected officials, to bring up any other issues that you are personally supporting, and also making sure that you have given an opportunity and a chance for your other group members to feel like they've had an opportunity to share and whatnot. So absolutely. And if you're unable to actually address maybe some issues that you personally support that we haven't advocated on during MDAC, like, please follow up with a business card, you know, send an email to the legislative staff and let them know how you feel about it. They actually record all the emails that they get, so it'll be a good opportunity for them to keep track of what their community really supports. Bail reform. Yeah, so actually we are supporting bail reform. It's on a bigger legislative agenda. There were so many great bills this year, and it was really difficult to really decide like what was on our MDAC agenda, but bail reform, for example, as was asked in the question, that's an issue that we care about as well, and it's something that we're advocating on. It's just not in our advocacy agenda for MDAC. Do you have access to the legislative fact sheets and script yet? Okay, yeah. Sorry, those are uploaded already on our website online, so please check it out. If you have any problem accessing the resource, please email us and let us know, and we'll make sure to get that fixed. If I didn't answer a question completely, feel free to ask me more in detail, but I'll continue going on. So the tours are just tours of the Capitol. What they do is there's a small kiosk, and the Capitol itself offers tours of the building, kind of going over the history of the building. Like, they'll go over segments of the building, kind of talk about when certain parts were constructed, like they'll go over paintings and stuff. So it's kind of a unique opportunity to see like the history of the building and you know what's progressed as the state has been since the state has been founded. So another question is, how will we know if we are able to meet with legislative staff? So once we close registration, we're actually going to be grouping folks based on legislative districts and trying to match folks up. So we're doing our best to like make sure that if you can't meet with your elected official, you're actually meeting with their high-ranking staff that deal with the bills directly, whether it's their chief of staff or the leg staffers specifically staffing the bill. So we'll typically inform some of the team captains ahead of time and let them know what the bills are, but you will know what your grouping is, and you'll be informed by your local office. And through Guidebook, after you're grouped, you'll be able to download your personal schedule and have it on your phone, so you'll make sure that you have your meetings. Another is, what kind of workshops do we do? So this year we're having 2 main workshops. One is really addressing coalition building and like what that looks like, but also giving really a sense of empowerment of being regarding faith-based organizing and like what it means to, you know, be a proud Muslim, but also be, politically engaged and to be an advocate in the community. So we're going to have like an organizer from Pico, California, which they're one of the leading organizations that actually are leading advocates for faith-based organizers and interfaith organizing. And we're also going to have like some Capitol staff kind of talk about ways that you can really contribute and really make a meaningful impact. And then another workshop we're having is a youth workshop specifically, and it'll address Black Lives Matter and kind of the police force bill, AB 931, and the importance and what that movement means, and ways in which that we can contribute and ensure that all our community members feel safe and respected. And all our workshops, not just the one I designate as youth workshop, really cater to the entire community, and it's really an opportunity for all of us to learn. But we also want to make sure that we cover all our bases. So another question is, how do you respond when an elected official is giving you the feeling that they don't agree with the bills? Okay. Yeah, so unfortunately it happens sometimes when an elected official or a staff member really just doesn't agree with you on a bill. That's part of the nature of doing advocacy. Also remembering too that sometimes elected officials and staffers, have their own personal opinions about issues. That's why it's important to really sit there and advocate and have really respectful and meaningful conversations. If they ever get rude or aggressive or whatnot, please let us know, and please feel free to let them know that it's not okay for them to talk to you like that. And if it really gets that aggressive, let us know immediately, or just, you can excuse yourself politely from the office and walk out if it becomes that bad. Thankfully, it's never become that bad from what we've known, but I will personally make sure that I follow up with that elected official's office and let them know, one, that it's inappropriate to address their own constituents and community members in that way, but also that, you can have conversations and you can discuss issues without needing to be so aggressive in that way. And we'll also be mindful and watchful of those offices, and next time doesn't change, that we'll make sure that you all don't actually have to be subjected to that again. So minutes for the entire meeting. I know to some people that seems like hectic and impossible, but all the meetings that I have, and I do this every day, 15 minutes is plenty of time, because you also have to remember that those staffers and the elected officials have already been hearing these bills, so they have some sort of idea of what the bill means. So that's why we stress and we focus on you all really focusing on your personal impact stories or your personal reasons for why you support it. And you will have plenty of time, and after the first meeting, you'll get the hang of it, and it'll be a lot easier to really discuss and throw out some of your key phrases. Another question is, will the team captain be part of CAIR or a staff member? Sometimes. Some of our CAIR staff members or longtime CAIR volunteers, for example, will be attending the meetings as actual attendees. So they, when those situations happen, like, please look to them for guidance, and they'll make sure that you have an opportunity to speak. But oftentimes you'll be in a group with either someone who has led a meeting before, or it'll be a good opportunity for you all to step up. And if you have any questions regarding that, you feel free to ask us if you don't feel comfortable. And we'll see what we can do to make sure your group, especially if you've been designated a captain, we'll be make sure to talk to you and make sure you're prepared. So another question we have is, how do you get more involved in MDAC? And does CAIR have any volunteer opportunities? Yes. So if you would like to attend as a volunteer, you can contact the CAIR Sacramento office directly. We also have been sending an email announcements out through our volunteer listserv for volunteers. So if you would actually prefer doing that, we definitely have volunteer opportunities for you. And we can talk about that more later, but we really recommend, especially if you've never been to an advocacy day, to really like push yourself and have the opportunity to meet with your elected officials and go to the workshops and like meet other community members. But if you know of anyone, yeah, so if you know of anyone who's also interested of, yeah, so if you know of anyone, apologies, interested in signing up for volunteering, but they haven't heard from us, please feel free to have them reach out to us. They can reach out to the CAIR-Sacramento office, or, you know, which it'll be easier actually because the event is based there. Yeah, so if you have, yeah, so sorry, in regards to like signing up for workshops and anything on Guidebook, so for example, the tours, it's a sign up only. So if it is shown as available on Guidebook, then you'll be able to register. If it's, for example, reserved, because we have limited spots because tour guides can only accommodate for a set number of people, then unfortunately we won't be able to provide. I know community members, especially our young folks, really like going on the tours. But so if there is an opportunity, you will be able to reserve if it's on there available. But if it's not, like, please understand that we had limited seats, and, you know, folks that were able to register in time got those seats. But inshallah, that's something that we can try to address. But also, we're expecting 800 attendees, and it's really hard for the staff at the Capitol to be able to provide workshops. Provide tours. Thank you. Well, if there are no further questions, let's see. There's no requirements. Sorry, last question. There are no requirements for the tours or workshops, other than for the tours of, you got to register ahead of time because there's limited seats. But if you're able to get that reservation, then, you know, you have a tour. But for the workshops, they're going to be actually under the tent area, so you're going to be able to actually just, you know, go back to the tent area, just sit and enjoy the workshops, and the facilitators will take care of everything and let you know what you need, and we'll provide you with whatever resources, whether it's like paper, pen, to be able to successfully attend the thing. So what do we do if we do not do the tours? So you are more than welcome to do your own self-guided tours. That's what a lot of people do. They have little brochures where you can go on a self-guided tour. You have an opportunity. The program starts, it opens up, you know, 8 in the morning and ends around 3 to 4 o'clock. So maybe when you have downtime that you're not attending a workshop or you don't have a legislative meeting, please feel free to go around the building and, you know, go on tours. And if you have children with you, please make sure that you're with them at all times. Are you going to get packets the morning of the event? So yes. However, if I'm not sure what location you're from, but if you're flying in from Southern California, on the plane and everything, you're going to get your resources ahead on the plane, so you'll be able to study them and have them. And also you have your guidebook app, so you'll be able to study things on your application. And also we will be providing it and packing the folders ahead of time that you leave behind at the legislative offices after your meetings. So you will have everything provided to you. And also the resources are available online, and you are more than welcome to print off the website. But we will make sure you have everything you need and you're prepared. Great. And I think that is our last question. Great. And here is our contact information for folks in San Diego, Sacramento, LA, San Francisco. Please contact your local CAIR offices if you have any more questions or comments, or just want to know a little bit more about the bills. Thank you all so much for attending. We look forward to seeing you all. And please, if you haven't registered, we have limited seats available. Please register early so we can make sure that you have a legislative meeting. If you don't register before we close the registration, it'll be really hard for us to guarantee that you actually get grouped into legislative meetings. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great night.